friends, it's Miss Rachel with the Otago Prattville Public Library, and today we are making DIY window clings with fabric paint. So in your kit you should have one laminated sheet that looks kind of like this, and 2 or 3 things of dimensional fabric paint. And what you're going to do is you can either use the templates on the laminated sheet to do your creations, or you can make your own templates by drawing with a marker on the back of the laminated sheet and then putting a piece of wax paper over it. The wax paper is not provided, but everything else you'll need is provided. And you may end up actually wanting to use a sheet of wax paper over the laminated sheet, regardless of if you create your own pattern or not, just because, as you can see here, I have some remnants of my prototype sticking to the laminate sheet. So because I did a thinner layer of the paint here, it didn't peel off as cleanly. So basically all we're going to do is we're going to trace our designs with the fabric paint. So I'm going to make a new design here. I've got these 2 little ghosties, and I'm going to make one more ghosty. And this little ghosty is going to be the one that I'm showing you what we're doing today with, in terms of the tracing. And then when they're finished, you'll see I have one ghost already painted on here that is ready to be peeled off, and I'll show you how you can remove them and put them on your window. So to start, you're going to want to, of course, create your design or pick which design you want to use. If you want to use one of the designs from the laminated sheet, you may want to wipe it off a little bit first, just to make sure you've got a nice clean surface to work with, and then make sure that it is nice and dry as well. And then you're going to pick out your colors that you want to use and simply start tracing or outlining the different colors where you'd like them to be. So I'm doing a fairly thick layer of this gray paint for the ghostie's facial features, and then I'm going to go around and do the same thing all around the edge here. Just squeezing the bottle and holding the tip of the nozzle of the fabric paint bottle just a teeny bit above the wax paper so that we can get a nice consistent line. And I'm trying to move somewhat slowly, but kind of at a consistent pace with my squeezing so that we don't get any big clumps or extra thin spots. There you go. If your hand gets tired, remember you can always bring your other hand in to help with the squeezing and to be sure that you get your surface area covered. Now this paint is for fabric, so it's a good idea to wear an apron while you're doing this activity, or a t-shirt that you don't mind getting a little bit of paint on, because this paint will stain clothing. So please be aware of that. And then when I'm doing my filling in with my other paint, I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do a little bit less squeezing and a little bit more spreading with the tip of my bottle here. And that allows me to use less paint and still cover the same amount of surface area. So you can do, if you're doing a big section like this, a big open section of one color, you can do like a big blob of paint like I just did, and then you can kind of smush it into the different nooks and crannies and corners where it needs to be filling in. This is a good part to take your time with. This whole craft doesn't take very long in terms of the hands-on portion, but you will want to take your time when you're putting the paint on, especially, like I said, so you don't get it on your clothes and mess up your clothing or furniture or anything. And also in terms of getting your design just right. But you'll also want to give it a lot of time to go ahead and dry and solidify. This little ghost here that's already done, he has been drying for a week. I recommend you leave your design for 1 to 2 days, depending on how thick they are, and then you'll be able to peel them off. So, as you can see, the filling in takes a little bit of time. You've got to readjust your hand as you're squeezing and filling. And you can take breaks from the squeezing to kind of fluff out your paint. And then you can jump right back in and put another blob of paint in. If you need a break, you can take a break. You don't want to give yourself a hand cramp or anything like that. And once your bottle starts to get a little empty, you can switch to another color, or if you want, you can go and get more of the same color at any crafting store or even a regular general store. However, you should have enough paint to do at least one of these designs. This ghosty I made here is a little bit larger probably than I should have made him, but the designs on the other side of the laminated sheet are perfectly proportioned to be able to be completed with the supplies you've been given. And like I said, it's good to take your time. I'm not going super slow on mine just because it's just an example. But of course, you can take your time spreading it out, enjoy the process, have some fun, maybe put some spooky tunes on. And as I finish up these last few corners, like I said, I just want to remind you, you do want to let your creation dry at least 1 full day. I let mine dry overnight one time, and that even wasn't quite enough, so you want to let it dry for as long as you really can, but at least 24 hours is recommended. And to let it dry, you'll just let it sit right where you've painted it out on your wax paper or laminate, and just let it kind of firm up and coagulate, and you'll be good. So here's my real spooky ghosty. He's ready to go. But now let me show you with the happy ghost how to take them off. So this part is simple, but a little deceptively simple. It is a little bit tricky. If you're using the wax paper, you can pick it up off of your template to kind of help you get a purchase on one of the corners, and then you can begin to peel it. I recommend that you peel all around the edges and then start working your way towards the center. So instead of just taking one little part of your ghosty and peeling the whole thing up very quickly, you're going to want to take your time and be sure that you loosen up all the edges and start working towards the center. And that way it just helps your ghosty stay all in one place, or whatever it is that you've created. If you're using the laminate, you can do a similar technique. You can bend the laminate to give yourself room to work with and peel it off. And you can even use something flat like a business card or something like that to help you scrape up the edges to get you started. Like I said, this is another part of the process where you're going to want to go nice and slow and take your time with it. And do be careful too if you have another work in progress hanging out that you don't accidentally smush or smear your design in progress. So it's a good idea probably to paint them all at once, and then peel them off all at once as well, all in one go once they have all had an equal opportunity to dry. And you can use your fingertips to scrape it up, like I said, or if you have a business card or something like that lying around, you can use that to help you peel it up. We're going all the way around the outer edge. And then if you have a nice big firm piece up top, like this top of the ghost's head here, you can use that to kind of help you work all the way towards the center again. And you'll notice it does try to stick back down when you're working on different parts of lifting your design. And that's okay, because that is what makes your design ultimately stick to the window. So it's okay that it's a little sticky and then it doesn't want to come up right away. That is part of the process, and that's just gonna make sure that your window cling actually clings to your window instead of just kind of flopping right off. I'm doing a little wiggling with my fingers very gently, and you might get a few small holes or tears in your design, and you'll notice that that's okay too, because I've got a couple of real small holes and tears in my design, but really it just kind of adds some texture to my little ghost. Oops. You don't want to fold him in half because he might stick to himself, so be careful about that. But you can, if they bother you, you can just find a different piece, a different section of your paper or laminate to put them on and fill that in, but you'd have to let them dry all the way again. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's super cute. And now we're just gonna stick it to our window. And I'll show you a picture of that in a second. Thank you guys so much for creating these DIY window clings along with me, and have a wonderful day.